Hello and welcome back to my channel Infowars Tech. This is the channel where we explore new trends in technology, including programming languages, artificial intelligence, machine learning. And today we're doing a follow-up tutorial to an earlier one that I had recorded, and I will post the link in the video here. It was creating or provisioning a container instance in Azure using CLI. So be sure to have a look at that as well. And today we're going to do deploying or provisioning a container in Azure using the portal or the GUI for Azure. So let's get started. And before we do, let's ask ourselves, what is a container? Why is it so useful? And in a nutshell, a container is a standardized portable packaging of your applications. And here I have brought up the Microsoft documentation, which provides some details. So by defining a container, it's a standard package of software which bundles an application's code together with the related configuration files and libraries and any dependencies that are required for the application to run. And this allows developers and IT professionals to deploy applications seamlessly across environments. A container virtualizes the underlying operating system and can be deployed and able to run anywhere. They don't need to boot an OS or load libraries, which enables containers to be very efficient and lightweight. Containerized applications can start in seconds as compared to minutes for some environments, and many more instances of the application can fit onto the machine or the host as compared to a VM, because primarily they are very small in size. And for developers, this is an extremely attractive technology to work with. So let's get started. And you can see I've already logged into my Azure portal instance, and you can see at the dashboard. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the deploying a container. So I can also do like a search. So I can search for container and it shows up a bunch of information. So we're looking at creating a container instance. So I go into or I select container instance and I hit create, and this should allow me to provide more information in order to provision that container. So I'm using my standard or default subscription. The resource group I'm choosing is Infowars Dev. You can also create a new one if you want. I'm just using an existing one. Container name, here we can give something that may be or has to be unique. So Infowars container. Region I'm choosing, I'm in Canada, so this is the only one that's available to me, Canada East. I don't get any availability zones, but that's all right. For the purposes of this tutorial, the idea is to show you how to deploy or provision a container and get it up and running. So I have three options here. A quick start image, which means that I probably don't have a registry already in place, so I'm just using whatever Microsoft is providing me. If I have a container registry where I've previously created an image, or I'm sharing within a team, then I can point to that and then select the registry and as well as the image that I want to deploy. So in my case, I'll just go with the quick start, and you can see that one of the default images in mcr.microsoft Azure Docs. I'm just reading that out. It's on Linux, and it's a very small one virtual CPU and 1.5 gigabytes of memory that's required, no GPUs. So you can certainly change this, but as I said, I'm really deploying this and showing this tutorial that how easy and fast it is to deploy a container. So I'll just close this out and we'll go with the default size. Next we can go to networking. I want this to be public. You also have an option to make it private, or the third option is to have none. The DNS label also has to be unique, so let me select that, and hopefully nobody else has selected this. We will know in a second. Now in terms of the DNS name, what is the scope, and what that means is in the choices that we have, the tenant is at an organization level. Then you have subscription, resource group, no reuse, or any reuse. So here I'll choose subscription because I might be reusing this container in future. You can also select within that resource group, or you can say no reuse, in which case it will be discarded after you don't need that anymore. So the default port is 80, TCP protocol is TCP. That all looks good. So I'm just going to go to the next page, and here I have three options for restart policy. Restart it if the container fails, restart always, and never. Right, so these are some choices. We'll just go with the default, which is in the event of a failure it will be restarted. I don't have to change anything here. The defaults look good, and I can go ahead and say review and create. Let me just quickly review. So that's the subscription name, the resource group we chosen, the region we've given it a container name. We want it to be public, so it's accessible over the internet. Again, if you're doing this for production environment, you'll be very selective of what you want to make public and what you want to keep private. So let's go ahead and say everything looks good. Say go ahead and create. So the deployment is in progress. Typically it takes up to a few seconds to create. So as we can see, it's being deployed, and we'll come back once it's deployed. Okay, so the deployment is complete. I can go to the resource or pin it to my dashboard from here. Let me just close this out, and our container is ready. Now how do we access that? Let's go to the container resource. As you can see, some information is available here in terms of the container. So it's running. This is the location, the subscription ID, and this is what we're interested in. So it's a Linux operating system. That's the IP address, public. We can use that, or we can also use the fully qualified domain name. So here you can see the label that you provided, Infobase container, and then it has added Azure has added additional information to ensure that it's accessible over the internet. So I'm just going to do a copy here, and I'm going to just open a new page and just paste it here. And so there you go. So like I said, this is a very simple tutorial. The image that we chose just displays this message on the screen, but this just prove that our container was provisioned and it's up and running. So thank you very much for watching, and be sure to watch the other tutorial that I have, which is deploying Azure container using CLI. Thank you very much for watching.